because that was fantastic information. Because everything that I was picking up on myself was to do with that. Now I called it the pole shift instead of like the deliberate tipping of the axis.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all of this information has been coming up for me over the past few days, like no other. So if you'd like to repeat yourself,
Start again.
yeah. So we've
Okay.
got a starting point.
Yeah. Okay. So many thousands of years ago, the axis of the planet was very deliberately shifted off center to take the axis away from the metagalactic core, into a 23.5-degree shift, which then aligned us, put us into the precession of the equinoxes, and had us aligned between Polaris and Vega as being the points that the axis for the planet was pointing to. And it was held in place by the moon being brought in, at that particular time to anchor that, and all sorts of gravitational nets and changes to grid structures and things anchoring in through the sun. And Ashana Dean calls it the poison apple configuration. And as all of these artificial nets and overlays and energy anchorings and things like this have been released, and from all of the reports coming in, they seem to be releasing very fast.
Mm.
It would seem to suggest that the axis of the planet must be swinging back, or must be ready to be brought back into alignment. And I do wonder if some of the weather changes we've had might not be some of that. But I know the powers that be, the guardians, will be very careful about doing it slowly rather than letting it happen in one big shift, because otherwise we'll be in chaos. Well,
Yeah,
there will be
yeah.
another flood scenario again.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is all really perfect because just before we started today, for about an hour, I was looking, I felt really called to just look at the map. So I'm just going to pull the map up, um, wherever my map may be. And I was drawn specifically into Greenland, as a starting point. The summit camp, Vandriblock, East Coast, and then I started to see a whole load of like ethnic cleansing. Um, Now, as you were kind of talking about that, as the tipping of the axis was pulled towards Polaris and Vega, Polaris was something that actually came up earlier, and now I'm feeling potentially that this genocide could have been in relation to the Polarian root race.
Yeah, well, that it comes in at some level with the Iran invasion and the Gaian Wars, doesn't it, Polaris? Oh, the
Yeah,
Polarians. Yeah, the Polarians were one of the initial seedings. You got the
yeah,
Polarians and the Hyperboreans
uh-huh,
who were seeded on 8D Gaia.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering whether that has some kind of link within what I'm picking up, what I have been picking up today. But what I've also noticed, this line runs all the way down to the Haley Stargate, South Pole Haley Stargate,
Hmm.
which is also connected into where's my notes going? Into Parallel Earth, which has been coming up recently quite a lot, and also Theta Orion. So what I kind of picked up within this was these kind of sacrifices that happened in the North Pole to filter down through the first axiatonal line and corrupt the line system. Um, and so as that was kind of occurring, it was intentional to shift the axis off alignment as well. So I don't know where that fits in with what you're saying
Yeah,
or how it
yeah.
does. Mm.
I mean, the whole taking us out of alignment, deliberately pulling us off axis, has had huge repercussions, hasn't it?
Yeah. Mm.
Forgive my ignorance, Sarah, but how is it that we were pulled out of the axis?
Well, the ancient texts and things like this talk about the time before the moon was in place, and I don't know how much you know about the moon, but there are so many abnormalities about it. If you let me have your email at some point, I can send you some information. But the talk the talk is amongst not just ancient cultures, but also amongst commentators now, about the moon being pulled into position by the negative alien side of things, as it were, in order to facilitate this shift, and also to act as a kind of like a watchtower over the earth, as it were. Many commentators, including some scientists from NASA, maintain that the moon is actually hollow. It rings like a bell, apparently. And there's all sorts of other things, but the moon is part of the anchoring system. It's not all of it, but it's part of the anchoring. This the gravity of pulling the earth off. Ashayana Dean, I think, goes into a lot of detail on it. I have to say, I've never been that interested to dive deep down into it, but she goes into a lot of detail about that.
Yeah, my very basic understanding on this topic is that the poles shifted to the equator every 85,000 years, but beyond that, how what the mechanics of this is, I've got no understanding.
Well, there's again talk in the histories of complete pole flips, where north becomes south and south becomes north, and that's happened at least once or twice. It shows in the geological record when they do the ice cores, they can see that there have been pole flips in the past. But it's also talked of, and it comes in it's come in over the last 250,000 years or something. There's been one or two of them, again, deliberately put in place by messing about with stargates and stuff like that, where there should have been a natural stellar activation cycle of the stargates opening. It was interfered with, much as they've tried to interfere with it this time round to bring about pole flip. And it hasn't happened this time round, but I think it's come close from what I've heard. I don't know. This isn't my area of expertise. I just know enough to be.
No, it's wonderful. It really is, because I feel like you've just kind of tied everything together for what I was kind of thinking beforehand, or unable to put necessarily into words as coherently as you have. So it's what I was kind of getting with that northern point of the of Greenland. So this line way down Greenland, obviously what I've just said is the ethnic cleansing and the use of the blood to kind of create a flip and a control of the stargates. So I think you've literally just answered all of my questions there and then. So thank you very much. I appreciate that so much. I now have clarity. And what else? Another thing that kind of came up within this was this planetary seed atom that runs along the same line. Now, I don't know if you know anything about the planetary seed atom.
I have read something about it, because that's part of the twisting, isn't it? It's been warped, not just within the planet, but all sorts of other levels as well. This seed atom has been warped into the demon seed pattern, and again, this might be part of everything that's happening now and everything that's unfolding. Be part of the correcting of that back into its original organic, because the blueprints can't be corrected without the seed atom being brought back to its original form, would be my take on it, my understanding of it. It was like our planetary axis was twisted. This was deliberately turned into what's called a demon seed, and then anything that grows out of that is going to have a tainted blueprint. And we've all labored, the whole planet and everybody on it has been burdened by this for millennia now.
Right, okay. And how would that translate to the monadic fields as well? The monadic fields and Christ consciousness, because what I'm kind of picking up within it is the planetary seed atom should really be a point of Christ consciousness, pure Christ consciousness, which is then able to kind of anchor in the monadic fields into physical form.
Yeah, but the monadic fields were really impacted back to the Orion Wars and the Gaian invasion. This was when all of that was those planes were taken over. The monadic fields were affected there, which then has had this direct effect on Earth history and planetary on Earth.
So that would make
we've been disconnected from the monadic fields because of it.
Right. I feel quite connected to them at the moment. And I think over the past 3 months, it's been more and more potent and more strong in the sense that they're coming back. Now, it's interesting because the first Stargate, the Halle Stargate, connects into Orion. So I feel like what we can do is run correction that way.
It connects. Yeah, it connects into Theta, doesn't it?
Yeah, Theta Orion. It also connects into Mercury and parallel Earth, which I feel is all kind of concurrent with running the disruptions to prevent the monadic fields from coming online.
Yeah.
So I guess what we can do is just raise up protections now. We'll just run a Maharic shield, Yadana Mana Akiokura. And just start unlocking the consciousness, spinning the star at the third eye. We're going to send it down on the next inhale, exhale, all the way down to the core of the Earth. We're going to run it through the planetary seed atom. And into the core. Sophianic flower of life. Extension of silver blue frequency up through the fields and up through the body. And then we're going to send it up underneath the feet, spin, breathing in, inhale, exhale, opening the platform, breathing in and exhaling, sending the star up above the head. Inhale, exhale, spin, connect head to tail, flash with encryption. Down to the heart with the star, inhale, exhale. Sealing the container. Okay. Right. So I guess what we'll do is I feel we can start at the planetary seed atom at this location point. So the interlay crossover just next to the Canary Islands. And just see blue aqua light filtering through the infrastructure of the lines, the crossover of the lines. Oh, okay, we've got seals coming up here. Ooh, this is really dark. Let's connect the source key. Light rays, primal sound. And primal light. Interweaves and interlocks as it clicks and resets the seal systems. And then I'm just hearing earthquakes, the sound of earthquakes, if that makes sense. Okay, unlock, fear release. And then I keep on getting the impression of like these primal dark deities or primal beings just kind of coming from the earthquake cracks. Okay, and that's bringing multiple lattices of multiple grids and lattices that's kind of interwoven and interconnected within this. It's like a meshing of layer upon layer of grid, mesh, template, imprints, etc. that's interlocking through the waveforms. Kind of saturating the sound harmonics and distorting them. Decompression. And then bringing in white light underneath. It's the white light's kind of penetrating from different angles, but it's primarily coming underneath and illuminating from the inside out of the cracks and the templates and the grid mesh patterns, and fundamentally the deities or the entities thingies. Okay, coming to a copper lock seal, which is almost like a time capsule or a time seal. Okay, and then this is fusing with pink light. Okay, and as this unlocks, hmm. Okay, so I've just been given the word doomsday as it's unlocked, but what I'm also seeing is the opposite of that as well. So it's like an unsealing of this container, which allows all of this information to filter up into the eighth dimensional field. It actually interweaves with Orion quite heavily. And when it's bringing me the information about the doomsday, I feel like that's kind of more so connected to an AI kind of beast machine. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you know anything about that.
Yeah, it's the Armageddon end times program.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, that's that ties everything together. So
Yeah.
Go right ahead, tell us.
Well, it was installed as part of. It all fits into Atlantis, and when Atlantis was taken over and taken down, which this would be in in Atlantis.
Yeah.
And when what's called the Luciferian Covenant, which is really, I mean, the whole Dark Ages we've been through since that time, about, I think it was 28,000, 30,000 years ago, something like this. The Armageddon programming was implanted into the planetary grids and therefore into us, which we're at now. They're trying to fully activate the Armageddon program at the moment. And it is tied in through, I mean, there's a very complicated sequencing that ties it back into various AI machinery, including the Beast machine, which was, I mean, it's implanted at so many layers, the Beast machine is, but it first came in at the Monadic layers at, when they invaded Orion. That's where it was first. That's where it was first anchored, and then it's been brought down through the dimensional layers.
Okay.
But this programming just runs through, and we're all meant basically to be brainwashed by it, and we're in the end times, and we feed it all our fear and our, and they pole flip us, and we all. Most of us die, and then they come rescue us and impose their world order and blah blah.
Sounds lovely.
Ain't happening.
Right, okay, so it is all tied in to that 8D field.
Yeah.
Right.
That would be my understanding of it.
Okay, and that's also tied into the planetary seed atom as well, or the demon seed.
Well, it's it's this whole twisting of the organic timelines and the overlays and the artificial I mean, the Armageddon end times programming is an artificial timeline they're trying to impose on us.
Okay. Right. Okay. So I guess the question is, what do we need to do to dismantle this, really? Or take back our energy from that, at least? Because it's obviously...
It's being brought down. I mean, all the Guardian forces are working at taking down all of this AI machinery and the artificial grids and things like this. But it's a massive thought form that sits within humanity. And we feed it energy. I mean, even if the underlying program is disappearing, we're feeding it energy because we've been taught about it, and it's very activated in us at this time. So maybe it's a thought form we need to get rid of, because otherwise we're almost reactivating the software program. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. Doesn't this run concurrent with the Paradise timelines as well, though? So if we've got an Armageddon one, we've also got a Paradise one.
That would make sense. That would make complete sense.
Yeah.
Because you've got, they're diametrically opposed, the the Armageddon timelines and the Golden Age.
I feel like we can work with the...
One's organic and one's
the
overlay.
Okay, so what I'm kind of seeing here is a bleed through of the Paradise, which can override somewhat.
Yeah, because the Paradise, is the last iteration of human evolution, isn't it? That it's called the Paradise Race. So it's got another name as well, but so the next evolutionary jump should be into that if we're allowed to be what we're supposed to be.
Okay, so can we anchor the Paradise codes into this seed?
Of course we can. We're powerful beings.
Yeah. So maybe we can just kind of take that in to this crisscross, particularly into the time capsule. Let's take it into the time capsule. I forgot about that then for a second. Let's open the time capsule itself, because obviously if it's storing the Armageddon, the Doomsday, then we can also find the Paradise as well within that. And I actually feel like that's connected into the monadic field. So okay, connect to the Christ core. The true essence of unconditional love. Moving from the core of the planet. Okay, and as this frequency of Christ consciousness is traveling up through the planet, I'm then hearing sound as an anchor point. Okay, and then I am literally seeing bits of rope with hooks coming down from this monadic field to anchor into the ley line. So it's running down through this vertical and across the horizontal ley line. Okay, hold the focus on that. Angels of the intervention coming in. Rebuilding the foundation layers of the dimensional frequency band. Now there's an interaction within that dimensional frequency band with the third, fourth dimensional layer as well. Which I see to be reconstructing the codon grids. The codon grids, and I'm feeling this all unlock through my spine, the back to front side of the heart. Igniting at the thymus. Okay. Allowing any pain to shift here. Lifting out any layers of numbness, confusion, and distortion. Symbol code of a harp. Harp being played, golden harp being played. I'm just feeling all of this hate move out of the planet, move out of the seed atom. Dissolve in the time capsule. And as this emanation of Christ light expands, I'm feeling the paradise timeline kind of expand further and take over the domination. Sorry, not that one, the Armageddon one. Body's moving into much elated lightness and bliss, and a cracking of the shell, almost as if I'm feeling like a beetle skin shedding. Do you feel the same thing as well there, Cybra?
It's like a carapace breaking
Yeah.
open. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's keep it going until it's completely off. Okay, the next thing that's coming up here is all of this pollution of the mind. And I'm just seeing all of this kind of brainwashing cartoon imagery where they've been watching too much TV and their eyes turn into spirals and flash different colors. This is quite literally what I'm seeing before me. And then Christ stepping in as the essence of compassion and overwhelming unconditional love. Turning into hydroplasmic matter, so like a liquid crystal light but water, and just washing over the scene. All the codes in the background begin to shine through in diamond iridescent frequency, mathematical equations moving forwards, and geometric restructuring. The seraphim. Okay. And then being guided back to the planetary seed atom, or the demon seed. Regenesis codes. Okay, and then these regenesis codes, I'm seeing them recirculate earth body and monadic field. And as it opens through the monadic fields, I'm hearing a crunch, a crash, and all of this space opening between the dimensional layers. Building towards rapture. And it's the bridging of the higher worlds and the lower worlds, quite literally seeing somebody reaching down and pulling the lower aspects up. So they've got that connection. Bridging the channels of the monad. Sound elevation, harmonic repatterning. Okay, and then I'm just kind of picking up on a sea of souls kind of immersed through the lands, and it's almost like breakaway souls and or like lost souls. They're just so much confusion, so much distinct lack of awareness, and misery and suffering. We just want to connect the source light fields back into the hearts and minds of the souls. Okay. Are you guys seeing anything else there you'd like to add into that? Or... Are you good? Right.
That was great. That was really powerful.
We're not done yet. There's more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The souls feel, it feels like there's an element of the Taran lost souls in there. It's not just Earth souls.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, definitely. So the next set of imagery I'm kind of being shown here is how that monadic anchor point running down the vertical ley line and across the horizontal. I'm then seeing it go up to the apex of the planet, into the top of the planet, and also into the base of the planet. So these pole shifts, I'm seeing the light kind of reconnect through the center. And then flash multiple times pink. I just had a really strong craving for salty popcorn covered in chocolate at the same time. Then it was really weird. I don't know what that's about, but okay. Yeah. Okay, right. So as that light is coming in through the vertical pole, let's say, I'm just seeing all of this kind of machinery running through that pole from north to south. And it's something that I can only really describe as something would drill into the earth and it spins. That's kind of what it looks like. Not entirely sure what that is. I feel like it does have some kind of impact to the gravitational fields and the electromagnetic fields. So it could be Leviathan. Atiamos Mo'okura. But whatever it is, it doesn't look or feel good. However, there is elements of it disintegrating with that light.
It's, I mean, that's the staff, isn't it? The vertical staff, which is the feminine.
Yeah. So isn't that Leviathan?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, right. I'm just picking up on all of these kind of confusing distortions. It's almost like I've got loads of TV screens around me that are just going into static and dissolving. Okay, and as it's kind of dissolving, I actually feel like I'm coming back into my central vertical alignment more easily. So where the essence would have been fractured and pulled off and locked into certain positions, it now feels like it's coming back into alignment. Now, the implementation, not the implementation, but the correlation between the chakra system as well seems to be quite intense with this as well, because what I'm picking up through the chakra system is a crunching contortion of inability to not process energy, but it's kind of getting stuck as it's coming through, or being held hostage in a way. And I actually feel like that's all kind of partisan, blocking up the ventricles of the heart, blocking up different parts of the system that would contain valves or kind of passageways where fluid would have to move through. There might be like a system or a gate lock kind of system where it's kind of commanding the presence over those gate locks and running them in a reverse order. Right, and I feel like that's also tied into the stargates as well. Okay, now Yaduramashi Okura. So let's dismantle Yaduramashini Okura Nage. Just start feeling that unlock within your own body as well. I've got numbness underneath my tongue at the moment with this as well. Okay. I'm feeling relief over the chest at your mass mortal quarter. Okay, we're going to take this and just scan the body, scan the planet. As we scan the body, we're going to go through each dimensional layer, starting from the 11th, the 10th, the 9th, the 8th, 7th, the 6th, the 5th, the 4th, the 3rd, the 2nd, and the 1st. Okay. So just to recap into that as well, all of these blood seals were just lifted out of the field as we scanned, with blood symbol codes on them as well. I feel like that's tied into the Paleodorian shield, or the Luciferian covenants on the Adora Manashna of Kiakura. Okay, right. So let's unlock and unseal. Decompress through the layers. And this is going through your own layers of the body. As these seals come out, as these sigils come out, these blood covenants come out and release, evoke, rescind, the body begins to kind of hiss and decompress with all of this smoke, black smoke coming out of it. And yeah. Black serpent. Blue lobster. I don't know what that means, but somewhat of a rarity, I believe. Batiamos mono okura. Okay, and then I'm seeing the Andromedan families coming in. The Aurora network. Okay. Now, as this Aurora platform, Aurora network is kind of coming in to my awareness, I'm just seeing it interlink through these monadic fields, these monadic grids that I can interlink and kind of connect onto the Earth body. There's a routing system that I'm being shown as well, which I don't particularly love at the moment. It doesn't look very nice and friendly, but we'll go with it and see what comes up of it. Okay, so these root systems, that's actually, I'm being shown the old root system that was kind of heavily hijacked and kind of overrun, now being filled with gold. That akin to a tunnel system, if you will, which is interesting. I'm just getting pain coming across the solar plexus and through the organs. Okay, and then I'm seeing all of this light moving through these tunnel systems. I actually feel like they could potentially be some kind of interdimensional wormhole system that runs through the stargates, but also to inner Earth as well and through the layers of the Earth. That's kind of what I feel with it. However that translates, I'm not entirely sure, but it feels like it is to that degree. Okay, and then I'm seeing the dragons of the Aurora now coming in, particularly one as an aquamarine dragon. And then seeing the stargates, 12 stargates. Primary stargates, yeah, Altiodonamana Ashia Sookura. And then I've got my attention drawn to the painted desert in Arizona. So we'll put a marker point in there. Okay. Lovely. Right. So here in the painted desert, we have a huge geometric opening through center, which is really charging and igniting. I'm not entirely sure what this is, but it feels almost like a Stargate. Mas mia okura diedrin. Okay, and then as I look to the rock formations of the desert, or like the landmass, it's all turning very, very lucid and colorful. Oh, feeling the heart unlock here, and just a lot of grief lifting out of the earth. I feel like it's kind of done and dusted, but does anyone else have anything they want to add to this?
Feels like a lot needs to settle.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. David, do you have anything else you want to say or add into? Take that as a no. Right. So what we'll do now is we'll just call back all of our energy, all of our essence, and we'll just update through all of our fields. We're going to ask for a beautiful protective field just to be placed over what was done today. And update through all fields, update through all localized grids, update through all blueprints. And seal forward now through all levels of layers of light and through the presence of the I am. Lovely. Right, I'm going to stop the recording now.